Hello students. So today we are going to see a very important topic from genetics. And it's a very tricky topic, but let's try to see the tricks and formulas through which all such questions can be easily answered. So let's get started. So as I said, we will see here mainly the gamete part. So let's start. So first of all, we have to understand what is gamete and how basically we can identify a gamete. So it's a very easy and simple concept, but let's first see how we can identify a gamete. So understand, gamete, as you can see, this one by one we will identify which is a gamete. So as you can see here, gamete should always have only one allele of a gene. Now you can see here, capital T is twice. So is it a gamete? No, it is not a gamete. But here you can see capital A, capital B, means one allele of these two genes. So this is a gamete. 2AA means it is not a gamete. Then here you can see 4 genes, but one allele of each gene. So this is a gamete. This is also a gamete. You can see BB is twice, so this is not a gamete. In the same way, if I ask you, is this a gamete? You can say no. 2 letters of O is there, so this is not a gamete here. All letters are only ones, means it is a gamete. Here again you can see I is twice, so Ames is not a gamete. Then here again you can see OO is also twice, so this is not a gamete. So this exercise will help you to easily understand how you will identify a gamete. Sometimes question is asked, which of the following is a gamete or which of the following is not a gamete. So basically what we say, gamete has only one allele of a gene, and that is why we say that gametes are always pure. Gametes are always pure, and that is why because each gamete only has one allele. So we understand how to identify a gamete. Now let's see the calculation, how we find out the types of gamete. And this is a very common question which is asked and very important. So there is a simple formula related to calculation of gamete, and that is 2 to the power n. Here in this 2 to the power n represents the number of heterozygous pair. Now you all know by this time that capital T is homozygous pair, capital T small t is a heterozygous pair. So we don't have to count homozygous pair, we only have to count the heterozygous pair, and n is the heterozygous pair here. So now if we see here, now see, this is a homozygous or heterozygous, so this is homozygous. Now in this case, if this is a genotype, then what is the value of n? Now there is no heterozygous pair, so n value is 0 here. So 2 to the power 0 is 1. So how many gametes here? How many types of gamete here? 1. Now here, number of heterozygous pair, this is 1. So n is equals to 1. So 2 to the power 1 is 2. Then further here, if you see 1 heterozygous pair, 2 heterozygous pair. So value of n is equals to 2. So 2 to the power 2 is equals to 4. Further you see here, this is again a genotype, but this is one is heterozygous, this one is homozygous. So here n is equals to, say what it will be, 1 or 2. So only 1, so n is equals to 1. So 2 to the power 1 is 2. Now again here you see how many heterozygous pairs. See, this is also homozygous, this is also homozygous. So heterozygous again here is 0. So 2 to the power 0 is 1. Again here if we see homozygous, this one is heterozygous. So because heterozygous is 1, so n is equals to 1. 2 to the power 1 is 2. Lastly, this one 1, 2, 3. So as you can see, 3 heterozygous pair. So 2 to the power 3, and that is 8. So in this way, you may be given any genotype and you are asked types of gamete. So very easy, 2 to the power n, you can easily calculate it. One of a very popular question is asked regarding F1, not F2, F1, right? So let's say any genotype of F2 can also be asked, but let's say I ask you F1 hybrid. Now you know that F1 hybrid is always heterozygous. Now F1 hybrid, if I say in monohybrid cross. So F1 hybrid in monohybrid cross, if I ask you, it make how many gametes? How many types of gamete? F1 hybrid in mono hybrid cross form. So you know that in monohybrid cross, F1 is capital T, small t. So how many types of gamete? N is equals to 1, so 2 types of gamete. In the same way, dihybrid cross. So dihybrid, what is the genotype of dihybrid cross? So again you will say capital R, capital Y, small y. So here n value is 2, so 2 to the power 2 is 4. So in dihybrid cross, 4 types of gamete. In the same way, let's say if I also ask trihybrid cross, F1 hybrid in trihybrid cross. So again you will say that in trihybrid cross, number of heterozygous pair will be, let's say trihybrid is this, capital B, small b, capital C. So trihybrid is this. So 3 heterozygous pair, so 2 to the power 3, 8. So sometime directly question is asked, what is the what are the types of gamete formed by F1 hybrid in monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, or trihybrid cross? You can easily tell in mono it is 2, dihybrid it is 4 type, and trihybrid it is 8 type. So now we have seen the types of gamete. Now another type of question is asked. If we know the types of gamete, what will be the ratio of these types? So here this is very, very simple, right? If I know that the types of gamete, for example, in this case, let's see here, n is equals to 1. So types of gamete is 2. So the ratio 2 gamete. So gamete are always in equal ratio. So 2 gamete, so the ratio will be 1:1. In terms of fraction, if it is asked, so you will say 1 by 2. Each gamete will have fraction 1 by 2, and in terms of percentage, what you will say? Each has 50%, right? In the same way, here you see how many gametes? So 2 to the power 2. So there are 4 types of gamete. So the ratio of these 4 types will be 1:1:1:1. This is the 4 types. Now each one will be, so each one will be 1 by 4 fraction wise. And if percentage wise asked, then each one will be 25%. In the same way, here you see 2 to the power 3. So 8 gametes will be formed. So here 8 times you have to write 1:1:1:1:1:1. So I guess it is 8 times. So 8 times 1:1 you have to write. Now each gamete will be how much? Fraction wise if I ask you. So each gamete will be 1 by 8. And what will be the percentage? So it will be 12.5%, right? Then here, if let's say I ask you what will be the types and ratio of these gametes formed in this case. So capital A, capital A, capital B, capital. So here what you will say? How many types of gametes? So you say only one type of gamete is formed. So all the gamete means 100% gamete will be AB. This is the gamete. In the same way, here if asked, so how many types of gamete? 2 types. So 2 type means 1:1, fraction wise 1 by 2, and percentage wise 50%. Now this is again the same. This one 8 gametes, and in 1:1:1:1 ratio. So remember here, ratio is very simple. Gametes are always formed in equal proportion, and that is what is said in the law of independent assortment. Law of independent assortment, what does it say? That all the gametes formed, they will be formed in equal proportion, right? They will be formed in equal proportion. That is, parental type is equal to hybrid type, right? So remember this concept, what we are of ratio we are seeing, it is true for independent assortment. Now for linkage, this concept will change, that we are going to see. So now in summary, if I ask you what is the ratio of gamete, always the ratio is equal, 1:1, 2, then 1 to 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, whatever it is, and always it is equal. Now if we think about the linkage case, then it becomes a little complicated. So let's see the linkage case. Now we know that in just here we have seen that in case of independent assortment, parental and hybrid is equal. But we know that in linkage, what happened? In linkage, the parental is more as compared to hybrid, right? Parental is more as compared to hybrid. So we can say parental is more than 50%. Now there is here a concept of complete linkage and incomplete linkage. So here, first we have to understand this difference between complete and incomplete linkage. So for this, simply in case of complete linkage, I'm quickly telling here, see, parental is 100%. Parental is 100% and hybrid is 0%. On the other hand, here we say parental, both parental and hybrid is there, but parental is greater than 50% and hybrid is less than 50%. That's the point. Now, simple trick to find out the gamete in linkage is, first of all, you have to see which 2 genes are linked. For example, this is a genotype. In case of independent assortment, if I ask you, you use the formula 2 to the power n, and you will say 4 gametes. But if I say A and B are completely linked, then, so simple trick is, when 2 are completely linked, then you will not count them as 2, you will count them as 1. So when it is 1 means n is equals to 1. So how many types of gamete? 2 types of gamete. Right here, let's say in this case, if I say A and B are linked, so now this you will count as 1 and this you will count as 2, means 2 to the power 2. So now here you will say 4 types of gamete. But let's say if I say all these 3 are linked, let's say in this case I say all 3 are linked, so you will count these 3 as 1. So 2 to the power 1 is again 2. So here 2 types of gamete. Clear? So these are the types of gamete, and already I have said only parental exists here, no hybrid will exist in complete linkage. But in case of incomplete linkage, see, type will be same. For example, here if I say in incomplete linkage, so here I will say 4 types. Here I will say 8 types. And here also 8 types. But what will change here? Now, earlier what we were seeing in independent assortment, that the ratio was 1:1:1:1. Now here the ratio will not be equal to 1:1:1:1. It will be different. The ratio will be different. So remember this. In case of incomplete linkage, the ratio is not equal because parental is greater than hybrid. So in this way, if question is asked regarding linkage, you can easily find out the types of gamete in linkage. So this is all the formula related to linkage and independent assortment through which you can solve all the question of gamete. Now, in the comment link I have shared where you can attempt some question. So it will direct to my WhatsApp channel where you can attempt all the question related to all these formula. So if you like this video, just share it to your friends, and link is there for my WhatsApp channel. You can join there and you can practice all more questions related to this topic. So very soon we will meet with a very new interesting topic from these chapters. Best of luck.